Issue 5, we start off with the cover there. It's going to be our final of Cobra Sun and Lona Still Rose versus Fizo.
Yeah.
But just like with everybody, we get to learn a little bit about backstory.
Okay.
So issue 5 opens up.
It's going to be Fiza backstory?
Fizo. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay. Again, I think I brought it up earlier, but we will give credit where credit is due. Writer, artist,
please.
creator, Daniel Warren Johnson. Colors, Mike Spicer. Letters, Rus Wooton. And variant covers by Tyrell, or this one for Tyrell Cannon. Each one had variant covers for him.
Nice choice of covers, Mike Spicer. Or colors.
Yes.
Dang it,
that's okay.
right.
So we're introduced to
this seems like it has a lot more detail in it.
this issue.
Just this that we're seeing now, this page. Like, look at that bed down at the bottom and that middle panel where the doctor's talking to him, the robot doctor or whatever.
Cool robot doctor, right?
Yeah, I guess. And then I don't understand why there's a paunch on a robot doctor, but he seems a little fat
He's had
for a
one
robot
too many
doctor.
donuts, Mike.
One too many screw-filled donuts.
But robot doctor comes in and it goes, Miss
Beep, bop,
Neva.
boop.
Yeah, it goes Miss Neva, and she goes, please, it's Maggie. Like, sorry, I'm checking.
Said, well, I am Samsung. So
yeah.
does he give his name?
I don't think it does. No, it just says, oh, hi, doctor.
Okay.
But she's like, she's there with oh, hi, Mark.
Oh, hi, doctor.
It's good we make all these jokes because it's about to
yeah.
get sad. Because she's there with Maggie is there, who's half of the Fizo tag team.
Yeah.
With a dying child.
Okay.
And she goes, he woke up a few times, but he didn't talk. Like, I've been reading books to him, and he's been asleep. And the doctor's like, good. And she's like, doctor, tell me. And he's like, well, the latest scans come in.
This is her child?
Yeah, this is her child. And they're like, they don't look good, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
And so Maggie's like, okay, how many days, like, are we talking about? And the doctor goes, at this point, we're talking hours. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And so it's her like climbing in bed with her kid there.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of a very somber moment. But then it flashes forward to, and I don't have it here, it flashes forward to them all meeting in Necron's office. And what they're doing is Cobra Sun essentially tells them, like, all right, we want this to be a death match. If they don't want to follow the rules, then we'll not follow the rules. Like, anything goes, no DQ.
Right.
And Maggie and her partner, which we find out his name's Frank, a Fizo, are like, no.
DQ is so good, though, with the little curly things on the top of the cones.
Yeah.
And
It's funny. They say that's what I love about Texas, but they're not even from Texas.
That's
it's like
what
from
I
Minnesota.
love about Texas.
But they're not. It's like a Minnesota company.
Yeah, it's just, you go behind the curtain, you're going to see all kinds of rats.
Anyway, so Fizo doesn't want to do this. They're like, no, like, why would we do this no DQ match? And the other's like, well, you guys wanted to not follow the rules when you picked on defenseless people. Like,
so the
we'll
idea
bring the
of
fight
doing,
to you.
The idea of doing a no DQ match is you can use anything you want.
On this,
it can be as dirty as you want.
They can pin them wherever they want, because you don't have to be in the ring, or maybe you do. It depends on some, but for the most part, you still got to get a pin to get the win. You can use the weapons you want. Yeah, there's no disqualifications.
Okay.
So that's what they pitch. That's what they want.
Can you use lasers?
I guess assume so. They don't have that. That's not one of the weapons they bring up. So thankfully, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
You don't have to worry about it.
All right. No lasers.
So that brings us then to our main event of the night.
That's a tall ass ladder.
It is a couple tall ass ladders out there, and he's like, and now it's time for your main event. Like, in this corner, Sun and Steel, and from Earth and from planet to Sura, F your stupid opinions, or Fizo. And we start our match, and there's a lot of like back and forth and just a lot of brutal action in this.
They beat Fizo because I'm getting tired of hearing it.
Well, so like there's a lot of great back and forth. I don't have all the action again because you should go check it out.
You absolutely
should. You should go like buy it. Our library has a copy.
Yep.
I am about to purchase a copy for my own personal library because I love it. Okay. I have other stuff by Daniel Warren Johnson here too, because we covered the Superman story that he has, which is my absolute favorite. I absolutely love it. But
red and blue thing.
I want to give enough. I feel like I say it each episode, but give enough to give interest without giving everything away.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even while we do spoil some of the story, in a lot of cases, a lot of the story, there's still nuance and other deeper stuff that.
Go buy the comic, folks. Go buy it.
So We start our main event here. There's some good back and forth action between the two of both of them getting in some fight, but eventually the fight goes outside, and Lona decides to climb up a ladder. We don't really know what she's doing. I guess she's trying to get away, but they are beating up Cobra-san, Frank and Maggie. Well, and so I don't call them FISO. We'll call them by their names, Frank and Maggie.
Sure.
Frank and Maggie are beating up Cobra-san outside, and goes to throw him on the table, as Frank does as he's punching Cobra-san.
Sure.
And Maggie is shaking the ladder to try to get Lona to fall off. Well, Cobra-san regains kind of his wherewithal and punches Frank and moves and switches him over to the table, like you see in matches of he gets the upper hand.
Yeah.
As Lona can't hold on to the top of the ladder anymore and falls off and falls down through, kind of turns into a senton bomb as she crashes through the table and through Frank. And I love the action on this page of just the sound effects of the and the kaboom.
It's really well done.
You feel there's almost like just an instance of you see the wind blow out from under the table of the action caused by this.
Can I call something out real quick?
Go ahead.
So growing up and when I watched wrestling and stuff, I saw people break tables a lot, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of broken tables.
Yeah. They are doctored in a way, not like fully doctored, but they're.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of where I'm going. Do you remember the first time you saw somebody fall through one of those tables, but it's one of those that folds in half anyway?
Just the opposite way?
Well, it the table already folds, right? So it
has a crease in the center.
It's got a hinge down the middle of it.
Yeah.
Right? Makes it a little bit easier to go through that.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
All right. So Pat McAfee and the rest of you guys out there going through these stupid freaking tables like this, you're not going through anything.
Well,
there's not much there.
I would still think I wouldn't want to do it. I would still think it could hurt.
I'd go through one of those.
Really?
There's nothing to it.
There is no way your wife lets you go through a table.
I didn't say that. I said I would do it.
Okay. Well,
I didn't say I'd tell her before.
I'm trying to figure out how we could get you to go through a table.
Give me a table. I'll go through it.
Well, okay, those Bills fans, I think, is more of it. Like you see them jump through.
Well, there's a lot of those tables that fold in half, and I'm thinking this is not what I signed up for here. Jim, what was the guy that does WWE? Jim
Varney?
Yeah, Jim Varney that does WWE. No, Jim Ross.
Oh, well, no, he does AEW stuff now.
I've seen that man go through tables, and they weren't folding tables.
No, poor JR.
That's what I'm saying.
I got to interview him once. He was really nice.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I know everybody has their own.
Was that pre or
with
post?
No, he was
Bell's palsy.
He was. It was. I mean, he's had that for a.
He's had it for a long time,
yeah.
but I remember when it happened. Yeah.
No, it was post. It was post.
Okay.
Well, he had it like back even like in the 90s. I feel like.
Yeah. I'm old.
Well,
I told you
okay.
that, Zach.
Fair enough. It could have been before that, but no, it was post. But he was really nice. Back to our story. So.
I gotta find out.
Lona goes through. He might have had maybe I'm misremembering, and if so, I feel so awful.
Why?
I don't know.
You don't know the guy.
I interviewed him once.
That's not the same thing.
So it looks like they have the upper hand, but the more fighting ensues outside the ring, and what happened?
1994.
Okay, I was okay.
Yeah, 94.
So Frank FISO decides
He's had 3 attacks.
we need to take it.
It's not good.
No,
Sorry, go for it.
We need to take it up a notch. And so he finds thumbtacks from underneath the ring, and he decides he's going to use them. And so he throws them all down on the ground and then puts Cobra-san in this kind of like a Boston crab as you're just pushing him and digging him down into the thumbtacks more. You see what I mean, Mike?
Oh, my God. Yeah, look at that.
As he's trying to crawl away.
That's a lot of blood, man.
It is. Lona desperately tries to run in with a bat. Covering in barbed wire herself to try to break it up.
Yeah.
And she's hit with a chain to do so.
A chain?
Yes, by Maggie. But
so
still.
They wrap the chain around the bat?
Like she throws it kind of.
Yeah.
But they break, like they fight from it.
Sure.
And I think Maggie gets thrown out of the ring somehow.
I like how he's on these tacks and it just says stab, 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 stab,
Yes.
stab. Little bitty stab, 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 stab.
I love this.
That's very good.
And eventually Cobra-san and Lona get the upper hand again, and they're going to go for her mom and his finisher. That, what was it? The Still Sunset?
Right.
The Powerbomb clothesline combo. And so Cobra's son puts him up in the Powerbomb as Lona goes to the top rope to get ready. And Frank's like, no, you can't do that. You don't deserve this. And he starts like poking at his eyes and like ripping at his mask.
Oh my God.
And he's like, no. And about that time, he like goes to cover his mask and he turns around and Lona sees it and goes, Dad? What? And she realizes Cobra's son is now her dad.
And she's about to get hit with something.
As he's like, Lona, behind you. And it's a glass tube right to the back.
Those also, by the way, there's nothing there.
I know, a fluorescent tube.
All right. It's like the kendo sticks.
It is. But at the same time, I love that he's paying, paying homage to everything.
Yeah.
And yeah.
No, I get that part.
And I love the blast of color there at the top.
It's very nice.
It's gorgeous. As she just falls over.
You definitely can see the impact.
Yes, and Cobra's son, or her dad, is going to break up the pin, but Frank holds him back, and she goes to pin him, and Maggie goes to pin Lona 1, 2, 3.
Oh.
And they lose.
Oh, no.
And what we get then is a flashback.
She done losed it.
Yeah, they lost. And what we get is a flashback to the two of them of Maggie walking in, and she goes, "Are you Frank?" And he's like, "Yeah, heard about your boy. Sorry for your loss." And she goes, "Yeah, me too. How'd you lose yours?" And he goes, "She was with my wife in a car, drunk driver. She was 6. And so they're sitting there just kind of, do you think this necromancer guy is really telling the truth? Like he can do this? Or do we trust him? And Frank goes, "I don't care. What do we have to lose? Nothing, I guess. But what we'll do is we'll train harder than anybody else. And after we win this damn thing, we can decide which one of our kids will return." And so they sit there and they get the titles. And he's like, "All right, our winners. Congratulations, guys." Because the two of them are looking like we agreed, to the death. And he goes, "To the death." As Frank and Maggie look like they're about to square up and they're not interested in the titles at all.
Yeah.
And they're about to fight to see whose kid they bring back to life.
Yeah.
And that ends issue 5 of.
What a terrible Sophie's Choice in space.
Yes.
Yeah.
But they're going to fight for it.
Huh.
So there you go.
Wow, I did not expect her to lose.
For them to lose?
Yeah. I did not expect that. Good job. Misdirection. Loved it.
But that's not where our story ends.
Frozen heroes. Gonna tell you about frozen heroes. Gonna tell you about.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production.